Hello and welcome to Yesterday's Airlines. Once again, in this video we are going to be checking out a very special Boeing 747-400. This is the HX models release of the Qantas 747 VH-OJB, wearing the spectacular Wunala Dreaming livery. This scheme was originally planned just to be a 3-month promotional event, but ultimately it flew on two different 747s for 17 years and has become one of the truly iconic airline liveries ever put onto a plane in civil aviation history. So in this video, we're going to be getting out the new HX models release of this wonderful aircraft and having a look at the beauty that is Wunala Dreaming. Before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel here at Yesterday's Airlines. Thank you very much to everyone who has done that. We are past 3,000 subscribers and rapidly moving up. So thank you to everyone. Also, don't forget to check out Northeast Diecast, the sponsor of this video, which has an amazing range of 200 and 400 scale models, with new models from collection sales being added all the time. So keep an eye out at Northeast Diecast because they really do have an excellent range of models available. And when you do, don't forget to use the code Yesterday's Airlines 15 for 15% off your order, because it makes a big difference to the price. So Yesterday's Airlines 15 for 15% off your order at Northeast Diecast. But let's take a closer look at this model and the history of the Wunala Dreaming livery. So we'll start with the unboxing and check out the features of this model. Obviously, as you can see, it comes in both a flaps up and down variant. I have got the flaps up version here, and as you can also see, has a very attractive and nicely designed box as well. So if we open up the box and get a look inside, it also comes with a couple of other accessories. The first of these is the collector's card. Most HX models releases nowadays come with a very nice collector's card, and this one is no different. You can see itself is really attractively designed and has some specifications of the real aircraft on the back. So that's a nice touch. I never know what to do with the collector's cards, I admit though. I tend to just put them back in the box. Also coming with this release is the HX models metal stand, and I have to say this is probably my favorite stand. A lot of the HX models that are made for YY wings, for example, come with the cheaper plastic stand, but these HX releases tend to come with this nice metal two-piece stand, which actually goes together really very well. You just screw off this little piece at the base of the stand pylon there, and that just slots through the stand base, fits quite nicely in there, and then it's just a case of screwing that back on again. And this is a much better screwing mechanism, a much easier screwing mechanism than I've seen on the old Gemini and the old version of the NG stands, and it works much better, and it's a nice tight finish, and you get a very attractive stand which doesn't have an awful footprint either. So it's a really nice stand. It's a very premium packaged item, collector's card, stand, and of course we've got the model here in the plastic, so we'll have a look at her next. So here we have VH Oscar Juliet Bravo up on the stand, and in this section I'll talk a bit about the Wunala Dreaming livery. The aircraft itself, as you can tell here, looks amazing. Now, as I said, this was originally planned just as a 3-month promotion by Qantas, but ended up being displayed on two different 747s across a 17-year period. And it has inspired a line of Aboriginal art schemes from Qantas by Balarinji Designs, who are the brainchild of this livery originally here. Wunala means kangaroo in the language of the Yanyuwa people of Borroloola on the Gulf of Carpentaria, which is up in the north of Australia. So it uses styles from North and Central Australia and features the spirits of Aboriginal people in the form of kangaroos travelling through the red desert landscape. And the colours were apparently inspired by the bright red sunset of Uluru and the blue lavenders of the Flinders Range and the lush green apples of colours of the Kakadu. So it's a really attractive scheme and an incredibly complex scheme that was designed by John and Ross Moriarty of Balarinji Designs. And as you can see, there are so many different elements on the livery. In fact, apparently there are 1,324 irregular dots and 7 different colours, and there are 67 different patterns, and apparently it took 12 days to paint the aircraft, so that must have been an incredible labour of love and an incredibly expensive one as well. The model here looks amazing, I have to say, and I think HX Models have done a really excellent job of creating or recreating this incredibly complex livery on their 747. I've already talked about the HX Model 747-400 mould beforehand, and I think it's really, really nice, and I think that they've done a spectacular job here. And also I think that they've got the cockpit windows in the right place, so that doesn't impact the design. I think overall this is a really impressive 747 model, right up there with the best that's ever been made in the scale in terms of the mould, but also, as you can see, the crisp and clean nature of the printing of the livery, which even here on the belly looks really very impressive. Now, VH-OJB herself, she was the second of 4 747-400s that Qantas had originally ordered in 1987. She was delivered in 1989, but she wasn't painted into this livery until September 4th, 1994. At least that's when she was rolled out in the scheme. And she wore this scheme for 9 years until March 2003, when she was repainted into standard colours and became Mount Isa. She flew with Qantas till 2012, and the Wunala colours, they switched across to a 400ER VH-OJB in 2003. HX Models have also made VH Oscar Echo Juliet, the 438ER model, which you can see here in the images. They've made a flaps up and down version of that as well, wearing the Wunala Dreaming scheme, and it looks just as amazing as Oscar Juliet Bravo does. OEJ wore the livery until January 2012, and that was the end of the Wunala Dreaming scheme in Qantas service. So that's a bit about the Wunala scheme. It is a really impressive livery, and of course it had its sisters schemes as well. The Nalanji Dreaming livery on the 747-300, which has also been recreated by HX Models too. And if you haven't seen the review I did of that release at the website, then make sure you check that out. But let's get her up on to the turntable so you can get a closer look at how nicely HX Models have recreated this wonderful livery. So all that remains is to add her into my collection. Now I've got one glass cabinet here which is dedicated to Australasian and airlines of the Pacific. You can see moving down from the top shelf, which has places like Fiji and Nauru and Tahiti, and then past New Zealand and the Australian domestic airlines, Ansett, Trans-Australia, and the lowest shelf contains Qantas. My Qantas fleet really only runs up until turn of the century, maybe just afterwards, but you can see here that amongst this wonderful collection of Qantas standard colours models from the likes of Gemini and NG models and Dragon Wings, we have now got the pair of HX models 747s, including Wunala Dreaming. It's not the easiest cabinet to photograph, so I apologise for that, but she looks wonderful in place with the rest of my Qantas fleet. Okay, so that is a quick look at the new HX models Wunala Dreaming scheme on VH-OJB. As I say, they've also done the later 747-400ER, the watercolours as well, but I'm firmly into this more classic version of the livery. I think they've done a spectacular job on the scheme, and the mould itself is excellent, which produces a wonderful package, especially with the excellent stand and the collector's card. So I'm really, really impressed by this HX models release. I hope you are too. Check them out. They're definitely worth collecting and can be acquired from a whole range of retailers such as Bedfordshire Diecast in the UK, and plenty of others around as well. So that's it for this video, but stay tuned for more content from yesterday's airlines. As always, I do my best to bring release rankings and snapshot videos and unboxings like this to the channel quite regularly. So stay tuned, there'll be more coming soon, but that's it for today. Thank you very much. Goodbye.